Every heart will praise you. Every knee shall bow. Heaven and earth and all creation. One day they will all fall down. Fall down. Exalt you, fall down, adore you, fall down. Presidents, kings, and sultans, heroes of world renown, princes and powers of mighty kingdoms. One day they will all fall down, fall down in worship, fall down before you, fall majestic mountain, every exalted crown, every bright shining star in heaven. One day they will all fall Sing it with me. Fall down. 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 Worship, fall down before you, fall down. One of these days that it won't be long. Hey, do me a favor. Just whatever else you're thinking about, sing this song as a prayer. This would be, if I had one prayer, it would be this, that I could learn to love in a real way, the way. Jesus said, there's no greater love than this, than a person lay down their life for a friend. And a lot of times we think about love in a selfish way, like what I'm going to get and how good it makes me feel. But that Jesus kind of love is the kind that says what's good for them is what I want to do, even if it costs me everything. So for me, it's a prayer. Pray it with me, okay?
Love the way you love. Grace Place. Good morning, all of my family and friends, all of you that join us from around the country and around the world. God bless you. Thanks for being with us today. Thanks for joining us in celebration. Every day, every Sunday, we celebrate Jesus. Jesus unfiltered. We see him in all of his glory and majesty, and we're growing, we're learning. We're learning more about what he was, who he was, what he did, what were his values. And I'm sitting on the steps in our home to signify that I want to grow, I want to go higher, I want to climb the steps, I want to understand more about Jesus. And today, I want to talk about freedom. It seemed like Jesus valued several very important principles. Freedom was like the foundation of them. He valued humility. He valued obedience. But when we talk about freedom, freedom is not being under necessity or restraint, physical or moral, exempt from subjection to the will of others, being at liberty, unrestricted, unconstrained. I don't know why. I don't know what happened in my life that would make me so drawn to liberty, to freedom. But it's a big deal to me. As a matter of fact, freedom is more important to me than safety. I would rather be free than live safely. My grandfather, Grandpa Gable, was a big German man. His wedding band fits over the last knuckle of my thumb. Big guy, big construction worker. When I was a teenager and just before I left home, he had a stroke. And he was an outdoorsman. And I think being paralyzed on his right side was more torture, more devastating to him than anybody I ever knew, because he was an outdoorsman and he wanted to work and hunt and fish and do his garden. I think maybe that worked into this idea in me to be free, because when he had that stroke, he was in the hospital, Fort Hamilton Hospital, for several days, and then we moved him into our home, and my grandma came and lived so that we could help take care of him. One night, I visited him in the hospital before he came to our house, and he called me over to him and he whispered in my ear, he said, "Mickey, open that window. Open that window. Go and open the window." I thought he wanted some fresh air, so I went and opened the window. And when I went back over to him, he said, "I'm getting out of here tonight." Well, he couldn't hardly move. He couldn't walk. He was paralyzed. I said, "Grandpa, you can't. You're on the 3rd floor of the hospital." He said, "I'm going to get out of here tonight." Well, obviously, he did not. But I saw the fire in his eyes. My grandpa wrote me a letter when I moved away. I moved to St. Paul, Minnesota, where I live now, but I moved in 1973 to attend the Apostolic Bible Institute. And he was really concerned that religion and religious ways not fill my head. And he wrote a letter, hand wrote a letter, left-handed, with a pencil. It was real scribbly and shaky. And in it, he said, don't let them get to you. If it does, take a walk in the woods. There, you'll find God. And he died the next spring. He knew that there are religious traditions and ideas of men that can bind you, paralyze you. I didn't know it. I didn't know what could happen, but I did know I was driven by freedom. At the Bible college that I attended, every now and then they would have what they called a four-beller. They'd ring the bell 4 times and everybody in the school would gather in the auditorium, and there would be a special session, a special time with the president of the Bible college, Reverend S.G. Norris. And one of those sessions was to instill in the minds and hearts of all of those Bible college students his personal belief about a certain doctrine. And it was a controversy at the time, back in the 70s. It was about apostles and prophets, and do we have people who are prophetic, and is that all just for the Bible, in the Bible times? And I remember in the middle of that four-beller, as he was teaching that there are no more apostles, there are no more prophets, that something got in me. I just stood to my feet. I just stood up. Some of my friends were there, guys that were older than me and ahead of me in college, and I remember them whispering, sit down, sit down. I couldn't stand it. I stood up, and he called me out. And I said, are you saying to us that if God, the Almighty God, wanted to prophesy through someone, that he could not? And he said, come talk to me right after this, and we'll talk about it. And I sat down, somewhat relieved, I guess, just to get it out. I don't know who in the world could have talked to my dad, or how word got out about that very important moment to me. But my dad called, and he said, son, can you just keep your mouth shut? I said, well, Dad, he's saying things that are impossible, that can't be right, and he's talking to these students, and I just couldn't stand it. I just stood up and asked a question. No, there was more to it than that, and I realize now, looking back, freedom has burned in my soul, in my heart. Freedom. Freedom from constraint, restraint, or ideas that I felt like were being crammed down my throat. That's a long time ago. But Jesus said in John chapter 8, verse 36, so if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. Jesus came to set us free. Freedom. Freedom. One of the things he valued most was his freedom. And he wouldn't be bound by tradition or men or the ideas that had come down, passed down, even from the law. Paul wrote in Galatians chapter 5, verse 1, the first part of that verse, it is for freedom that Christ has set us free. It's for freedom, just for the sake of freedom. And I think, God help us, we're in a time right now, again, where the Spirit of God, moving over the earth, is planting seeds of freedom in every believer and in people that don't even understand that it is from the Spirit of God. Political bondage, racial mess, binding people because of thoughts, not reality. The results, the long-term generational curse of slavery, being bound. I just want to tell you that Jesus came to set you free, truly free, free indeed. One of the greatest stories in the Bible is the story of the resurrection of Lazarus, when Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead in John chapter 11. I'm only going to read one verse, and it's the last portion of the whole story. And it says, when he had said this, Jesus called in a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. The dead man came out, his hands and feet wrapped with strips of linen and a cloth around his face. Jesus said to them, take off the grave clothes and let him go. Lazarus got sick. His sisters, Mary and Martha, sent word to Jesus, the one you love is very sick. Jesus decided to stay where he was. Even though Lazarus was sick, he did not respond to their request. He didn't move quickly. And later he explained, I'm glad that we waited. And Lazarus has died because you're going to see the glory of God. God is going to glorify me through this. When he went to see Lazarus, he was already dead. And he had been dead for 4 days. Martha heard that Jesus was coming and went to see him on the road and said, if you'd have been here, my brother wouldn't have died. And Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. Martha went back and told Mary Jesus was on the road. And Mary went and said, if you'd been here, my brother would not have died. Jesus said, where have you laid him? Where'd you bury him? They took him to the tomb. It was just a cave with a rock rolled over the front of it. And Jesus said, remove the stone. They said, oh, just a minute. He's been in there for 4 days. There'd be a terrible odor. Jesus said, roll the stone away. And when they did, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. And if you read it in every translation, especially graphic in the Message Bible, it says, out came the cadaver, the dead body. I don't know, I never read it like that before, but it says, and the dead man came out. So I don't know. Did he wake up when Jesus said his name? Did he stir to life when Jesus said, come out? Or was he a dead man even when he came out? And he didn't come to life until Jesus said, take the grave clothes off and let him go. Interesting, isn't it? I'm not going to debate it or make a doctrine about it, but it's just interesting that it said the dead man. It didn't say the man that was dead. All I know is I'm here to tell you this morning that you are free. I'm unwrapping your hands and feet, taking the napkin off of your face and saying, let him go. Let her go. Let my people go. Freedom. Freedom to be who you are without someone else's opinion, without someone else's constraint or restraint. Freedom. That's what Jesus came to do. That's what Jesus valued. Your freedom. And oh, what joy. What joy. When I took a walk in the woods, just like my grandpa said, and I found God and realized he's not always in a prayer room, and he's not always in a sanctuary, and he's not always in the church, and he's not always with everybody else. He's with me. He's with you. Now that's free indeed. God bless you.